Welcome to biology classes. So, in the previous classes, we have seen about various diseases. Like we have discussed about bacterial diseases, we have discussed about the viral diseases, okay, and we have also seen the disease that is caused by protozoa like malaria. So, malaria is caused by plasmodium, isn't it? Plasmodium, and there are different species of plasmodium are there. I have also already said plasmodium vivax, malaria, and falciparum, isn't it? So these are what different kinds of or species of plasmodium that causes the disease malaria. Okay, and of these, the most serious and fatal one is plasmodium falciparum, isn't it? And then we have studied the life cycle of plasmodium, isn't it? So plasmodium enters the human body as sporozoites, isn't it? Through what the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito, and they multiply in the liver cells, and then they go to the RBCs, and there it results in the rupturing of RBC, and that causes the release of a substance, toxic substance called hemozoin. Understood? And then what happened? They complete their sexual phase, okay, in the human body. Then they enter into the sexual phase. They produce gametocytes, and this gametocytes will be taken by the mosquito, and this in the mosquito they complete their sexual phase, okay, of life cycle, and then they enter into the salivary gland of the mosquito. This kind of mosquitoes, when they bite the healthy person, the mosquito will spread the plasmodium, okay, to their body, and in this way mosquito act as the vector and also as the host, okay, and there are two hosts. What are they? Human and mosquitoes, okay, there are two hosts, and in the and at the same time the female Anopheles mosquito is acting as the vector also. So this much we have studied in the previous class, okay. So another disease that is caused by protozoa is amoebiasis. What is it? Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. Okay, so the causative organism is Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so Entamoeba histolytica causes a disease called what? Amoebiasis. So this is also known as amoebic dysentery. So you understood which part of the body will be affected? Digestive system, isn't it? So this you can see in the large intestine of human being, and it causes a disease called what? Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. Okay, symptoms. So as I told, the symptoms will be related to the digestive system, isn't it? As this is infecting the digestive system, so what will be the symptoms? Constipation, abdominal pain and cramps, stool with excess mucus and blood clot. Okay, so all these are what? The symptoms of amoebiasis. Okay, and the vector of this is houseflies. Okay, houseflies act as the mechanical carrier. Understood? And they transmit the parasite from infected person to food and food products. Understood? So by drinking contaminated water, or by eating contaminated food, okay, so this can also be the what source of infection. Understood? And house flies, they act as the mechanical vector. Okay, means by eating contaminated food from the fecal matters, okay, or by the fecal matters. So that food is getting contaminated by the flies which are transferring, okay, the fecal matters of the patient to the food products of the healthy person. Okay, so in that way it gets spread. Okay, so these two diseases, whichever malaria and amoebiasis, are examples of protozoan diseases, the diseases caused by protozoa. Okay, then next is what? Ascaris. Ascaris, the common roundworm. The causative organism is what? The roundworm. Okay, and Wuchereria, the filarial worms. Okay, so they are they are parasitic to the human being. And Ascaris causes what? Ascariasis. So examples of diseases that are spread by helminthes are what? Ascariasis and filariasis. Okay, or what to say, the elephantiasis. Other name for filariasis is what? Elephantiasis. Okay, so ascariasis is caused by Ascaris. Okay, we have seen the Ascaris worm in our lab last year, isn't it? So they are also intestinal parasites. And symptoms, so what will be the symptoms related to the digestive system, isn't it? Internal bleeding also it can, as the Ascaris sucks the blood from the body, okay, or from the intestine. Internal bleeding can happen, muscular pain, fever, anemia, blockage of the intestinal passage, because we have seen it is big ones, isn't it? Big worms they are. So it can cause what? Intestinal blockage of intestinal passage. So how they will be means transmitted? The eggs of the parasites are excreted by the infected person through his fecus, and that contaminates the soil, water, plants, etc. And when a healthy person, okay, acquires this infection through contaminated water, vegetables, fruits, etc. Okay, so this X will enter into the body of the healthy person, and there it will hatch out and causes the ascariasis. Okay, so this disease, you might have taken worm medicines, isn't it? In schools we were getting worm medicines. So this is general medicines which are used against what? This kind of worms. Understood? So worms, how this ascariasis is spread? Through contaminated food materials. Okay, so the eggs of this, okay, that will be passed through the fecal matters of the infected person, and that will be present in the soil. And from there, okay, without washing properly, or okay, so in that way, if these eggs get internalized by the healthy person, that person also gets the disease. Okay, then another example for the disease caused by the worms or the helminths is what? Wuchereria. Okay, and see, there are two species, that are Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malai. This can be asked. Okay, the species of the Wuchereria that causes what? Elephantiasis or filariasis. What are they? Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malai. Okay, so they, what the symptom is, they cause slowly developing chronic inflammation. Okay, so the organs where they are living, especially you have seen some of the patients legs will become very thick, isn't it? And actually this is why, because they cause inflammation. Understood? Usually they are living inside lymphatic vessels. Okay, and that is the reason it is known as elephantiasis or filariasis. When the disease comes, what happen? The leg will become like the legs of elephants, isn't it? So from that only elephantiasis or filariasis, we call them as like this. Okay, this disease is spread from one person to another by the bite of female Culex mosquitoes. Is actually the what mosquito that causes the transmission, or which acts as the vector. Okay, female Culex mosquitoes. Understood? So, how they will be transmitted by the bite of female mosquito vectors. Okay, Culex mosquito vectors. So, how this inflammation comes? This worms start growing in the lymphatic vessels. Okay, understood? And usually it is found in the limbs because they are living in the lymphatic vessels of the lower limbs, and this causes what, elephantiasis or filariasis. So about two helminthus diseases we have seen now. What are they? Ascariasis and elephantiasis or filariasis. Okay. Then we are going to study about the disease which is caused by fungus. Okay. So many fungus that are belonging to different genera like Microsporum. Okay. This can also be asked. Microsporum. Okay. Trichophyton. Understood? And Epidermatophyton. These are the what common genera that causes what, fungal infections. What are they? Microsporum, then Trichophyton and Epidermophyton. Okay, Epidermophyton. Clear? So these three genus means fungus belonging to these three genus are generally responsible for the infections by fungus. Okay, especially ringworm. Okay, a ringworm is not a worm disease, it's actually a fungal disease. Okay, and this is caused mainly by, I told, the three genera means fungus of these three genera. So what are the symptoms of this? That is scaly lesions on various parts of the body. Okay, like skin, nails, scalp, etc. Understood? Scaly lesions. Okay, appearance of dry scaly lesions. You can see diagram is given here. So how the affected area of ringworm, how it looks, usually in circular region you can see this kind of changes. Okay, and the lesions are accompanied by itching. Okay, itching and lesions, localized lesions are the symptoms of what, a ringworm. Then, for fungus to grow, heat and moist conditions are needed. So, this usually found in skin folds, okay, like in the groin or between the toes, etc., are the what the favorite place for them to grow. Why? Because they need heat and moisture to grow. So, this foldings of skin may have what, moisture content. It may not be, means if it is not dried properly after taking bath and all, what will happen, this areas will have moisture and the heat. Okay, this are the favorite what conditions that are needed for them to grow. So this is the reason this usually find in the skin folds. Okay, and how they are getting spread by from soil, it can be, okay, or by using towels, clothes, or comb of infected person if we share this kind of materials. Okay, so usually it is said now, this kind of materials should not be shared between the persons. Okay, because if they are having some kind of ringworms or any other fungal infections, it can be spread to other person also. Okay, so soil, it can be directly get from soil sometimes, or by the sharing of what materials like towels, clothes, etc. of the infected person. So, as you know, prevention is better than cure, isn't it? So, for preventing this kind of diseases, personal and public hygiene is very important. So, personal hygiene includes what? Keeping the body clean, taking bath, isn't it? Consumption of clean water, clean drinking water, food, vegetables. So, vegetables and fruit should be washed properly. Then, all these are what means that gives, that also gives what, immunity to our body if you take this kind of food and all. But when take food or vegetables, that should be cleaned first, isn't it? Then another is what, public hygiene. Public hygiene includes what, disposal of waste and excreta, then periodic cleaning of cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs, pools, isn't it, cesspools and tanks, etc. That is very important. Why? Because many are using this. So it should be kept clean. Understood? So if the food, this kind of material means things like what, cleaning the areas like public ponds, okay, tanks, etc., that is important, especially for those diseases which are spread through the food and water, okay, like what, typhoid, amoebiasis, ascariasis, all this we have learnt, isn't it? So again, see here, diseases are classified on the basis of their transmission. Okay, so what is that? The diseases which are spread through food and water, contaminated food and water. Examples are what? Typhoid, amoebiasis, ascariasis, etc. Okay, then if it is airborne diseases like our corona, isn't it? Pneumonia, common cold, etc., what we have to do, close contact with the people should be avoided. That's what we are saying, what, 1 meter distance, isn't it? So that is important. Then covering our face with mask, isn't it? Means nostrils and the open, you see, most of the pathogens are entering through the openings of our body, isn't it? Skin is actually, it's a barrier, it's acting as a barrier. It will not allow many pathogens to enter into the body. So how they enter? Through the openings or through the cuts, wounds, etc., isn't it? So this is the reason why we are covering the face with the mask, isn't it? So the diseases which are caused by or which are happen through air droplets. Okay, so in this it's very important. And for diseases which are caused by or which are spread by vectors like malaria, okay, filariasis, etc., what we have to do, it is very very important to control or eliminate vectors, isn't it, and their breeding places. So this includes what, avoiding stagnation of water, isn't it, regular cleaning of coolers, use of mosquito nets, okay, then introducing fishes like gambusia, okay, it eats the what, mosquito larva, okay, guppy fish or gambusia, okay. So all these are very important. Understood? So spraying insecticides in ditches, drainage, so all this can be done. Doors, windows can be what, protected by wire mesh, which prevent the entry of mosquitoes. So all these are very important. You know, in recent years, diseases like dengue, chikungunya, etc., were also spreading due to what, the multiplication of the vector known as Aedes mosquitoes. Okay, Aedes mosquitoes are responsible or the vectors of what, dengue and chikungunya. Understood? So, like this, if we take care of our personal and public health, many of the diseases can be prevented. Understood? So now we know many of the diseases are effectively dealt with, what, the biological advanced methods are there. Okay, then vaccines, immunization program, etc., are also there. And there are what, stories of success also, isn't it, like smallpox. Okay, so if it is vaccinated, okay, if a person is vaccinated, what, this kind of diseases can be prevented. Okay, like what, many diseases like polio, diphtheria, pneumonia, tetanus, okay, so all these are controlled through what, use of vaccines. Okay, and this is this kind of what, the vector vaccine making and all made easy by the development of biotechnology. Okay, and then discovery of antibiotics. Okay, so all these are very useful in controlling the infectious diseases. So till now what we have studied is infectious, various kinds of infectious disease. Okay, and depends upon the infecting agents, or depending upon the agents, they are of different types. We have seen about the bacterial diseases, viral diseases, fungal diseases, plasmodial diseases, and helminthus disease or worms diseases, isn't it? So all this you have to remember, and you have to, it's easy to remember how you have to remember the disease, the causative organism, then which part of the body it is affected. Okay, on that basis you can learn the symptoms and what are the vectors if it is there. Okay, and all this you have to study. So general what prevention is what keeping personal hygiene, public hygiene. Okay, then control of vectors. Okay, then what else, taking vaccines. Okay, or taking part in immunization programs, etc. So hope this much is very clear to you. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.